What's up, good people? This is morning for me. I'm commonly known to y'all as Carcino. Most of you know me, some of you don't. Today, or earlier yesterday, people on the internet start going off about Bill Laimbeer saying that LeBron James is the best player in NBA history. I should have wore my Piston gear for this. Bill Laimbeer is one of the greatest basketball minds to ever play the game. He didn't have the physical attributes of most of these athletes, but he competed and outthought a lot of them every night. Cerebral, tough, never backed down from anybody. He was the Detroit Pistons sergeant of arms. Well, yeah, you went too far. He's not the greatest player of all time. He's one of the greatest basketball minds of all time. Exactly. But see, this is what I'm talking about, where the guys have nothing to talk about. He stated this years ago. I probably made a video when he said it years ago. This is what makes it funny. I thought somebody, when they brought it to my attention, I thought somebody was speaking on the fact of him saying it from years ago. I didn't know this was like being news again. People are just recycling old news and throwing it right back out. Exactly. And I remember myself saying this in the statement when he said it years ago. He's only doing it to shade Michael Jordan's legacy. He knows damn well LeBron James isn't better than Michael Jordan. So one, it throws a shot at Mike. Jordan ain't gonna care, but it's just another dig at him. That's Bill always competing. Of course, Isaiah said it too. Isaiah don't even like to hear the introduction of the Chicago Bulls. When they start playing that, that would get. He was retired for years. He still can't hear that music and not get mad. His blood just start boiling. He hates the sound of that music. That tells you right there. That's that fire. That's that passion. That's that Piston loyalty. Because I feel that way. I'm like, if I feel that and Zeke feel that, imagine how Bill Laimbeer feel. I can't stand the Bulls. Anybody that played on that team couldn't stand them. And I'm from Chicago, born and bred. Because Bulls fans were like Cleveland Cavalier fans. They were as blind as a bat. Some of the stuff that went on in those games were worse than anything anybody could ever imagine. Can't be a traitor if you never was on the team. I never was a Bulls fan, then left and went to the Pistons. I never liked the Bulls. Ulysses, the league set it up so Michael can win. They made the flagrant foul rule in the 1990-91 NBA season. That season, the Bulls won their first NBA championship of 6. In 1990-91 is the first year the NBA signed a new multi-million-dollar deal with the I'm sorry about that. NBC. Let's just say that. That was the first year of the NBC deal. And well, Lord behold, it was the first year Michael Jordan won his title. Are you starting to add on? Are you starting to figure this out yet? Are you figuring this out yet? They were going to win it regardless. Oh, yeah, they just remodified the rules to help LeBron. Jordan never won fair and square. I mean, he was Michael Jordan. Don't get me wrong. But he had a lot of help. He just didn't need a lot of it. Now, the first 3 championships were different. The Bulls hadn't done anything yet. I'm going to go WD-40 this chair in a minute. Just for y'all. I'm a realist. I'm somebody who watched every last game. Every game that the Chicago Bulls had, I watched every single game. I didn't miss basketball. And here I had the pleasure of seeing all of Jordan games and rooting against him in every single one that he wore a Chicago Bulls uniform. Every single one. Don't worry about my haircut and how we do business. Sino from the hood. We get things done. I haven't fixed the chair. Now, back to the program at hand. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Now, the Chicago Bulls would not give Jordan help. But in the 1990-91 season, Jordan changed his game. He changed his attack. Michael Jordan was entirely different. Michael Jordan had started a weight regimen. For the first time in his life, Michael Jordan was going to start hitting the weights. Michael Jordan started using weight training on his body. So during the 1990-91 season, he went from this scrawny little guy to a guy who's actually putting on some mass. And that just enhanced him because he was already strong. Just naturally, this little guy with skinny legs. Now, Jordan is getting kind of solid. And another thing that happened with him, instead of trying to knife to the basket all the time, he was being a little bit selective and a lot smarter in his decision making. Instead of just attacking four guys and he was moving the ball around calmly. But when he was getting the ball and he was 18, 19, 20 feet out, he was shooting the ball more confidently, and his fundamentals and the way his form was entirely different. His feet went all over the place. He wasn't pausing in the air shooting the ball. His form was very still, and it was very fluent. His shooting percentage was high, but now he was hitting shots from way further out than he used to. Before, it was like try to get Michael Jordan to shoot way out there. He started to hit those shots. Then he started shooting fadeaways and was very accurate with those. So in the 90-91 season, he really enhanced his game a lot. Hold on. I like this tea. Jalen, it's quick that you mentioned the 1991 playoffs against the Detroit Pistons, where they beat us one time. When how many years have the Detroit Pistons beat the Chicago Bulls, what, 4 years in a row? It's like, why are we having this conversation about one time when they still own the record against you? You beat them in one series when they were old. Chris Savage said, put a link up. I'm like, link up of what? Charles Barkley never beat up Laimbeer. Laimbeer beat up Charles Barkley. Somebody else sucker punched Bill Laimbeer in the scuff. Larry Bird walked off after losing to the Detroit Pistons and didn't shake anybody's hand. No one complained about that. And there was still time on the clock when they left. Nobody can complain when they did that. But they have been deemed villains. And once you've been deemed a villain, this goes along with the territory. They want to change our logo, try to erase the history of the Detroit Pistons because the NBA followed their lead. They were ahead of the league. Because of Larry Bird. Because of the Detroit Pistons, baby. Bad boys. Now, you trying to compare what LeBron's up against and what Michael Jordan was up against? He was up against Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the Detroit Pistons, Moses Malone, and Dr. J. He was going up against formidable opponents that half of the league he played in is in the top 50 greatest players of all time. Magic, Kareem, and Worthy are in the NBA's top 50 greatest players of all time. All three. Are on that list for NBA's top players of all time. That's what Jordan was up against. Who was LeBron up against? LeBron came in the league in 2003, right? They put him in the NBA Finals against the Spurs in like 2007 as an experiment. They got wiped off the planet, all because of LeBron James. He's the only one that didn't do his job in the NBA Finals. What are you talking about? The first year they played the Lakers. You talking about the Bulls championship. Second year they played the Portland Trailblazers. Third year they played the team of destiny, Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns. Then they played the Seattle Supersonics with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. Then they played the Utah Jazz with Karl Malone and Stockton twice. What are you talking about? That was their 6 championships. I don't know what lines you're talking about, dude. I mean, people act like LeBron is winning championships now. He hasn't won a championship in what, 3, almost 4 years now? It was 4 years ago. It's almost 4 years ago since LeBron won a championship. 4. The other times, he was just visiting. He was a witness. He was a witness to Golden State holding up a trophy. He was a witness to Kevin Durant embarrassing him in the NBA Finals 2 years in a row. He was a witness. Nobody was beating Golden State. Well, the Houston Rockets was beating them to the point they won 7 games. How could the Rockets go 7 games if Cleveland was better than them, right? So you telling me the Houston Rockets was better than the Cleveland Cavaliers? Oh, they won more games than Cleveland did. But LeBron is the best player in the world, the whole NBA, the league. That's what you're telling me. Am I right? See, Chris, this is where you don't get it. You saying they both lost, so what does it matter? That's exactly the point. What someone did is what matters. I'm gonna always give credit to a team that pushed a team to 7 games than a team that got swept. I'm gonna always get that team that won 7 games or won 3 games against a team that had Kevin Durant and couldn't be beat. To you guys not winning a game and getting swept. Why did you get swept? If you got the best player on the planet, you got the best player on the planet, that doesn't happen. Golden State should have won that game. even with all the ref situation that they did in the third quarter, that don't even matter. I just watched that Cleveland winning their first championship video. They had ample opportunity to win that game. They decided to settle for threes. Their last bucket, and even Cleveland's last bucket, they scored basically one basket in like 3 minutes. Golden State didn't score no more in the whole game. From like the 4-minute mark all the way to the end. Klay Thompson did a layup, and that was the end of it. At 4 minutes to go, they choked that series. I forgot how bad it was. But who predicted that Cleveland would win a championship that year, even though he can't stand LeBron James? Who said the Cleveland Cavaliers would go back and then Golden State was going to come back and beat them and they were going to do it like 3 times? Who said that? Told you that after the first championship. Told you this whole thing was rigged, and I told you how they were going to do it. And it happened. So Bill Laimbeer, who knows for a fact that LeBron James isn't better than Michael Jordan, said these things based on the fact that Michael Jordan is a player they can't stand. That's it. Oh, but I did, Guru. How can you be the guru and don't know I said that? Ulysses, remember I called it? I think me and Kev went to the same high school. Kev Cook, tell him the name of our high school team. What was the name of the high school team? Let Kev Cook tell you. See that? Falcons. The Falcons. And Kev remembers me in high school, and I had to go through hell every time the Bulls would win. Because he know even then, I was Detroit Pistons or nothing. Battling the whole school. Battling the whole city of Chicago. Boy, I used to get it. Because, see, those were the times. Yeah, even Laimbeer knows how to throw a shot at Michael Jordan. They would not. You think they would say a Chicago Bull was the best player in the NBA? No, they will never give Jordan that. They have too much competitive fire to give Michael Jordan that. They would say Kareem before they would say Michael. It don't bother Mike, but that's just how petty they are. That's the game, baby. Yeah, H Money, what's up with you and Frank, man? How you calling this man ugly because you want to see his face? You like the Joker and doggone Batman. Just take that mask off and let him come for you. Frank probably hiding out from the feds. They probably don't want to find him out. They're gonna be there. He is. Facial recognition scan says there's Frank. That's filthy Frank. Let's get him. MQ Jones the first said, "How is Isaiah Thomas greater than Jordan when he only has 2 rings?" So according to you, Jordan is great because he has 6 rings, right? Mm. So, well, I guess Bill Russell is probably the best player that ever played the game. So Bill Russell is better than Michael Jordan because he got more rings than Michael. So Michael Jordan is not better than Bill Russell. We got that. At least we know that now, since we're going by rings. Will Purdue, well, he's better than Dwayne Wade. Will Purdue got 5 rings. Steve Kerr got 5 rings. So I guess Robert Horry is better than Michael Jordan. Yeah, that makes sense. Horry got more rings. You see that? It's not about just championships. Who made the rules? MCQ1. Who made the Jordan rules? Isaiah Lord Thomas III did. But who made the rules? We did. The Detroit Pistons made the Jordan rules. We designed rules to stop him. And guess what we did? We stopped him. Now, I will give Jordan his credit. He was a formidable opponent. He was an offensive juggernaut. But if you watch the games from 1990 and 91, right? If you watch those games from 90 and 91, Michael Jordan changed his game. After losing to the Detroit Pistons in 7 games, that was just so much frustration from Jordan because he was so sick of losing to the Pistons. Jordan went into a whole new regime of using weights in his training. During that series in game 2, Michael Jordan hurt his hip. And it limited him to his explosiveness going towards the basket. He was able to win some games and still put up points, but it was hindering him attacking the rim the way he wanted to. And in the fourth quarter, he didn't have the energy. And you've heard him state this many times. He didn't have the energy to compete in the fourth quarter. His shots was, all over the place. It was erratic. And his team just kind of shut down and was standing around. So 90-91, he never wanted to get put in that situation again. So to conserve his energy, Michael Jordan played a smarter game. It was much more cerebral. It was much more, I don't have to really kill to get these points. I could just take my openings when I see them. And his shooting form was better. He was a lot stronger. And it made his game more fluent. He was shooting more from away from the basket with confidence. So he became a more different element. You had to think of a new way of guarding Michael because Jordan would shoot that 19-20 footer with no problem. You know, he was more accurate with it and more fundamentally sound. He had gotten better. If that makes any sense to you. Michael Jordan had gotten better in 90, 91. Thanks, Lloyd King Jr. I should be working for ESPN. These guys don't know the game. Scottie Pippen. People love to give Scottie Pippen so much credit. Believe me, if 3, 4 guys are focused on shutting down Michael Jordan, shouldn't Scottie Pippen get 20 points? And he couldn't even do that half the time. Every NBA Finals, Scottie Pippen end up in a predicament Michael Jordan got to get him out of. The series against the Lakers was never supposed to go 5 games. The Lakers blew game 3 back in LA. They had the game 1 when Divock hit the shot. Michael Jordan came down there. Scottie Pippen fouled out. The game goes to overtime, and Michael Jordan takes over. All Scottie had to do was not foul. He steps up and gets the foul on Vlade Divac and gives up a 3-point play. Scottie's out of the game. Michael has to come through. Against the Portland Trail Blazers, who was the difference maker? Michael. Who was the difference maker, and where was Scottie Pippen as being a difference maker in these games? It's non-existent. Hold on. No, I just wanted to get more tea. Relax. I like green tea with lemons. Pitt was a good player. Scottie Pippen worked on his ball handling. For a guy who was his size, his ball handling skills had improved. But Scottie Pippen was still stagnant. He wasn't a dominant player like everyone think he is. Let me tell you what, everybody is holding Scottie Pippen on a pedestal. They're going back to the 1994 season when they think Scottie Pippen should have been MVP that year. Listen, Scottie Pippen had a good year. And I'm going to tell you why Scottie had a good year in 94. Scottie Pippen, the Bulls had Pete Myers, Jordan retired. So what did the Bulls come with? They had one other player, one, that meant anything. And that was Scottie Pippen. They had B.J. Armstrong. They had a rookie named Tony Kukoc, and they had Horace Grant. Horace Grant was in a contract year, and he played out of his mind. He was putting up double-doubles. He was scoring like crazy. They had a system. They still had Paxson hitting shots. B.J. Armstrong got more of a authoritative starting role and he was the guy at that time to take the reins. So BJ he went to the All-Star game with Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant that year. All three made the All-Star game. That year, Horace Grant played so insanely, he got like a $30 million deal to go play with the Orlando Magic after that year. So that left Scottie Pippen to basically do what he do. Scottie came down there, he was free to just, nobody was really like, let's shut down Scottie, because Horace was killing that year. Because the very next year, they had BJ Armstrong on the team. They had all the same people, right? Scottie's still in charge. Michael ain't back yet. What happened with Scottie Pippen and the Bulls? What happened? Scottie showed he was a terrible leader. Phil Jackson drew up a play for Tony Kukoc to shoot the game-winning shot. Scottie Pippen got mad and said, I'm not going in the game, and sat out. Bill Cartwright yelled at Scottie, what is wrong with you, man? He would have never did this to Michael. You are not Michael, Scottie. So Scottie sat out the play. And you know what happened? Tony Kukoc hit the game-winning shot. Just the way Phil drew it up. Do you know how many game-winning shots Tony Kukoc hit as a rookie? Why wouldn't he give it to him? Yes, Tony Kukoc hit it, because that's what Tony do. Scottie, the great leader he was, mentally shut down and turned into a child. The Bulls were almost 500 and on the borderline of missing the playoffs before Michael Jordan came back for 17 games. 17. What happened to Scottie? They played the San Antonio Spurs. Scottie Pippen started throwing chairs out on the court because he got thrown out the game because Dennis Rodman was embarrassing him and shutting him down. But I thought he was over his fears. What happened to Scottie? There was no Michael to back him up. He couldn't deal with the pressure of being a number one. Now the pressure is sinking in. Now he sees what Jordan's going through. See, everything was on cruise control. There was no Horace Grant to back you up. You had Corey Blunt. Can't get it done, Scottie? But you the man, though, right, Scottie? You the man. He was never the man. He was a role player. And other NBA players know it. Jordan is his whole career. Michael Jordan got a flu, and he still got to come out there and perform because Scottie Pippen can't do a damn thing. All he doing is holding Jordan up. Jordan, man, thank God we got you. All he was is a pom-pom cheerleader. Michael Jordan not here with food poisoning. That's when you're supposed to say, Mike, I got this. I'm going to take the game over. You ain't do a damn thing. Talking about Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen is overrated. He's grossly overrated. He was on a dream team he should have never been on. MQ Jones the first. Who won more games against each other? Isaiah or Michael? Don't worry, I'll wait. Let's just say it's Isaiah. Right? Who won more games against each other? Larry Bird and the Celtics or the Detroit Pistons and Isaiah Thomas? Isaiah. Who prevented the Pistons from three-peating? A referee in Los Angeles who called a ghost foul on Bill Laimbeer and let Kareem shoot 2 free throws. Who won more against each other? Magic Johnson or Isaiah Thomas? Isaiah Thomas. What happened to the Pistons after 1990? Well, the team was old. You're talking about guys who were formed in the 80s. They got split up and they were starting anew. They had Grant Hill and they was going to start a new legacy, but Grant Hill got injured while they were building the team, and they had to move on from Grant Hill after 6 years. That was the legacy of the NBA at that time. Grant Hill was getting the keys. He was going to lead all the new generation into the league. And people felt disrespected. There was a lot going on in the league when Michael came back. Y'all have no idea. But we're going to get into that a little later. I'm finna leave here and go put something up explosive on the Patreon. I'll be back.